Welcome to the Upgrading ArcGIS Enterprise session. My name is Mark Carlson, and I'm a system architect in the Geo Experience Center.
And my name is Derek Burke. I'm also a system architect in the Geo Experience Center. Today we're going to review how to perform ArcGIS Enterprise upgrades. And if you've seen our other session on automating ArcGIS Enterprise deployments, we'll pick up with this presentation on useful tips and options for performing upgrades that Mark and I use every day in our role of managing hundreds of GIS environments for Esri's Global Business Development Division. We'll start by discussing key reasons as to why you would upgrade and tips and considerations in planning your ArcGIS Enterprise upgrades. We'll then talk through specific tips for upgrading each component of ArcGIS Enterprise, spanning the portal to web adapters, the hosting server, and ArcGIS Data Store. And additionally, how to validate your environment is functional once it's been upgraded. Mark will then dive deeper into each of the upgrade options available to you, from manual upgrades to using wizards and scripting. Before we jump into upgrading ArcGIS Enterprise deployments, let's take a few minutes to discuss why you would upgrade and some considerations to think through before doing so. Upgrading is the process of taking an existing version of the software and moving it to a newer version. Upgrading maintains your existing content and configurations and can be applied to ArcGIS Enterprise base deployment and server roles. A good question to ask is, why would I upgrade to begin with? And it's mainly to take advantage of the latest released benefits. Some of these may include new features and applications in an ArcGIS Enterprise, along with any performance enhancements. You may also be on an older version of the software that is nearing the end of its life cycle. We'll talk about this in a moment. And lastly, keeping current on releases ensures you are taking advantage of the latest security updates and bug fixes. Several years ago, Esri introduced a product lifecycle policy where we have short-term support releases and long-term support releases. The big difference is how long they are supported, particularly how long security patches are made available. We recommend you take this into careful consideration when planning your upgrade policies. To find the product lifecycle of a version you've deployed, you can visit this website, which provides you with information related to software and technical support provided by Esri throughout a product's lifecycle. You also need to review what version you're currently on and if that version can be upgraded to your desired version you want to move to. Sometimes you may need to perform what is called an indirect upgrade, which is an upgrade to an intermediate version before you can upgrade to the desired version. For example, on this chart you see scenarios of upgrading from a version number on the left-hand side and the target you are upgrading to listed on top. Let's say you're at version 10.2.2 and you wish to upgrade to version 10.9. You would first need to upgrade your 10.2.2 version to 10.4 later. This would be an example of an indirect upgrade. Then upgrade to 10.9 from that version. Another consideration is app compatibility. You may have several apps added to your ArcGIS Enterprise. These could be ArcGIS Insights, for example, or Collector for ArcGIS. Some of these applications are on different release cycles than ArcGIS Enterprise. It's best to check the app compatibility in the documentation. For example, from an application functionality perspective, if you want to take advantage of new features of ArcGIS Insights version 2021.1, you would need to have ArcGIS Enterprise 10.8.1 or 10.9 to install that version of Insights. We do not recommend unfederating your servers. Unfederating servers is not a step in upgrading your environment. Please do not do this. At 10.7, the portal license has changed and is a JSON file you need to upload to your portal. At 10.6.1, the ArcGIS Data Store is only supported as its managed database for the hosting server. This means as if previous releases used an ArcGIS Enterprise database as the managed database, you'll need to switch to using the ArcGIS Data Store. There is documentation in enterprise.arcgis.com that runs through how to preserve your services if you have any published. This is done by registering the ArcGIS Enterprise database with ArcGIS Enterprise and then installing the ArcGIS Data Store as the managed database. It's also good practice to review member roles and user types of the version you're upgrading to upgrade in the event that your users are assigned to a compatible user type. For example, if you're running 10.5 through 10.6.1 and upgrading to 10.7 and beyond, your level 1 and level 2 members will be assigned to a compatible user type such as viewer and creator. It's always good to review this before upgrade to understand if any user type mappings will happen. If your machines are virtualized, whether in the cloud or on-premise, we would recommend taking snapshots of the environment, including all disk volumes. Using snapshots will save you a lot of time and effort as they contain all the content and configurations and can easily be reverted back to if needed. Next, verify those snapshots or backups worked properly by restoring them in a test environment. Also consider using the WebGIS DR tool to back up your deployment. Items backed up using this tool include ArcGIS Enterprise portal items and settings, hosted web layers, federated and hosting server settings, and hosted feature service data and hosted scene layer caches. You also need to back up any customizations configured for your portal. For data stores, use the Backup Data Store utility to create a full backup of each of your data stores. For ArcGIS Server, use the Backup utility to back up your server site configuration. And lastly, the content stores for ArcGIS Portal, ArcGIS Server, and ArcGIS Data Store. The main takeaway from this slide is to make sure you back up your environment before you upgrade. We have several options of automating upgrades. You can use whichever option best suits your organization. We'll walk through each of these options in a few moments. We'll look at ArcGIS Enterprise Builder, AWS CloudFormation, ArcGIS Enterprise Cloud Builder for both Amazon Web Services and Azure, as well as advanced automation tools using Chef or PowerShell. New at 10.9 is a new deployment option for ArcGIS Enterprise on Kubernetes. It's a new cloud-native deployment option for ArcGIS Enterprise based on microservices and containerization. It's designed to optimize scalability, resilience, and maintainability using this microservice architecture. This deployment option is by no means a forced replacement for using Windows or Linux, but rather if you need a containerized Kubernetes-based version of Enterprise, this could be for you. It's planned at the release date to support Amazon EKS, Azure AKS, and on-premise solution of Red Hat OpenShift. We'll discuss the upgrade experience with this option a little bit later. One aspect to keep in mind is if you have deployed ArcGIS Enterprise with one of these options, you would perform an upgrade using that same tool. For example, if you deployed with ArcGIS Enterprise Builder, then you would upgrade using ArcGIS Enterprise Builder. When upgrading your ArcGIS Enterprise, it's recommended to upgrade the components in this order. First, the portal for ArcGIS, then the ArcGIS Web Adaptor for portal for ArcGIS, any web styles, ArcGIS Server, ArcGIS Web Adaptor for ArcGIS Server, ArcGIS Data Store, then all the other server roles you may have in your environment. I'm now going to turn this over to Mark to go into more detail and demo each of these upgrade options.
Thanks, Derek. Let's review some specifics when upgrading Portal for ArcGIS. Please keep in mind that starting at version 10.7, the Portal license file is a JSON file. Every API for Portal supports the JSON file. This file can be used either in the Home app, upgrading through the Portal admin site, or upgrading using the command line utility, or using your own scripts. All options now require the JSON license file for Portal. Depending on the version you are upgrading to will depend on what you will see after the setup has completed. Just be aware that if you are manually upgrading the environment, you will need to complete this step after the setup has completed. Starting at 10.7, if your content is on a file system, do not need to run a manual reindex. However, if you are not upgrading to a release of 10.7 or higher, you will need to manually run a full reindex. This will ensure all new and existing content is searchable and allows Portal to know where to find the content. You find the re-index by navigating to the portal admin directory, then selecting Home, then System, then Indexer. Let's take a look at what this would look like after you have upgraded. Select Index Status. After upgrading, you might see something similar to this. The counts in the store and the counts in the index are out of sync and are also displayed in red. So, what you want to do is select Full for the mode and then select Reindex. When the reindex has completed, you will be brought back to the index page. We now want to check to verify the counts are back in sync. To verify the sync, we simply click on Index Status again, and we should be able to verify the counts in the store match the count in the index. If you have configured Living Atlas with your portal, depending on which version you are upgrading to, you may be required to upgrade this content as well. Starting at 10.7, the Living Atlas content is upgraded automatically during the post-upgrade operation. If you are upgrading prior to 10.7, you will need to run this manually. Also keep in mind that at our 10.6.1 release, the managed database registered with the hosting server is now required to be the ArcGIS data store. Enterprise geodatabases are no longer supported to be promoted to the managed data store for the hosting server. You can, however, still register enterprise geodatabases with ArcGIS Server. If you try to upgrade from a previous version with an enterprise geodatabase as the managed data store, you will not be able to promote the ArcGIS Server to the hosting server role. At versions 10.2 to 10.4.1, everyone in your portal was considered a member. Then at versions 10.5 to 10.6.1, each user was either a level 1 or a level 2 user. And at 10.7, we introduced user types that included a viewer, editor, field worker, creator, and GIS professional. So what happens if you upgrade from a members version to a level version? If you only had a single member type compatible with level 2, then all your members are now level 2. What happens if you upgrade from a level version to a user type version? If you only had level 1 viewers and level 2 creators, then all your level 1 members become viewers, and all the level 2 members become creators. If you had a level 1 and level 2 users assigned a variety of user roles, then the level 1 users will be assigned light temp users, and the level 2 users will be assigned standard temp users. This is an example of what you would see if your users have been assigned a temporary user role after the upgrade. You must assign users in these temporary user types to a user type that is available in the upgraded portal. Users will not be able to log into the portal if they have been assigned a temporary user. The portal administrator responsible for managing users in the portal must assign the available appropriate user type. Let's review a highly available portal for ArcGIS Upgrade. Prior to 10.6.1, the portal standby machine needed to be unregistered prior to upgrading. Starting at 10.6.1, you no longer need to unregister the standby machine. However, you had to manually run Continue Portal Upgrade on the primary machine. The feedback we received was that it was confusing as to which machine to start the install, and what if it causes a failover? I now am not sure which one is the primary. So starting at 10.7, we listened and changed it to where you do not need to be aware of which machine is primary and which one is standby. Also, you can now run the portal upgrade steps on either machine. Please keep in mind that we do not support upgrades from the 10.3.1 release and back if you are upgrading to 10.9. You will receive an error if trying to upgrade from one of these older versions. If you have an older version, upgrade to an intermediate release of 10.4 or higher that can then be upgraded to 10.9. Now let's review upgrading the web adapter. Take note of the web adapter context you used at the previous version. You will be using the same name when configuring the updated web adapter. In a Windows deployment, This is located in Programs, and in Linux, you can find the name in the Web Apps folder. In both of these examples, the name for the portal web adapter is Portal, and the name for the server web adapter is Server. Upgrading to the new web adapter requires uninstalling the previous web adapter. Once the old web adapter is uninstalled, you can now install and configure the new web adapter. Starting at our 10.8 release, the WebSocket protocol is now required. As our software advances and offers more capabilities, we need to configure underlying infrastructure to better support communications over the internet between a client and a server. For example, Workflow Manager, Notebook Server, and Mission Server rely on this protocol being configured. Now let's review upgrading the ArcGIS server. At our releases before ArcGIS Server 10.5, after installing the ArcGIS Server upgrade, there were no additional steps. The upgrade would be complete and ready to use. However, at the 10.5 release and beyond, there is a second step. You must proceed with the Continue Server upgrade. Once this is complete, your server will be upgraded and ready to use. Also, your hosting server must be the same version as Portal. Other federated server roles at a minimum of 10.5 can be upgraded at a later time, unless the ArcGIS server role has been promoted in Portal for a specific purpose, such as geoanalytics or raster analytics. Multi-clusters within an ArcGIS server site are supported prior to the 10.7 release. However, starting at 10.7, multiple server clusters within an ArcGIS server site are no longer supported. If you have multi-cluster sites defined, you can still upgrade. The upgrade process will create a default cluster if it does not already exist, and move all servers and services to the default cluster. When the upgrade is complete, you will need to manually review and start the ArcGIS services as the upgrade stops these services while moving them to the default cluster. Again, please keep in mind that we do not support direct upgrades from 10.3.1 releases and back if you are upgrading to 10.9. You will receive an error if trying to upgrade from one of these older versions. If you have an older version, you may need to upgrade to a supported intermediate version that can then be upgraded to the desired version. Next, let's look at upgrading the ArcGIS data store. Please make sure and review the latest online documentation for upgrading the ArcGIS data store. You can find it on our enterprise.arcgis.com and search Portal for ArcGIS. Then select Upgrade ArcGIS Data Store and review how to prepare the ArcGIS Data Store before upgrading. It is important to note that you need to review the documentation for the ArcGIS Data Store. Starting at 10.6, you can no longer perform an uninstall and install upgrade. You will need to perform an in-place upgrade. If you're upgrading prior to 10.7, you are required to upgrade the primary data store prior to upgrading the standby data store. However, starting at our 10.7 release, you can upgrade from either the primary or standby data store. You will just need to run the install on all data store machines. For the relational and tile cache data stores, this will be on the primary and standby machines, and for the spatial temporal data stores, you will run the install on all spatial temporal data store machines. Do not uninstall the ArcGIS data store before installing. Also, only run the configuration command from one of the data store machines to initiate the upgrade. Just to review, starting at 10.7, you will install the new version on all data store machines. You will then only need to run the configured data store on one of the machines to initiate the upgrade. After upgrading the tile cache data store to 10.8, there is no longer the distinction of primary and standby machines. You now have the option to add multiple machines to the tile cache data store. You should, however, have an odd number of machines. So if you had an HA configuration with 2 machines allocated for your tile cache, it is recommended adding a third machine. By customer demand, starting at our 10.8 release, we now support the use of group managed service accounts. If you manually configured the group managed account to run the ArcGIS services, the 10.8 upgrade will recognize this account and will be displayed as shown here. However, you cannot change to a group managed service account during the upgrade. Create backups. I cannot emphasize this enough. And validate your restore procedures prior to upgrading. Also, before upgrading the data stores, you want to make sure nothing is trying to write to the data stores during the upgrade. If you have a GeoEvent server or GeoAnalytics server in your ArcGIS environment, you will need to confirm that they are not writing to the data stores. Also, if you have enabled location tracking in Portal, you can simply pause the location tracking. Again, create a backup prior to upgrading. So let's review some validation steps you can take to verify the upgrade was successful. We recommend that your checks should include these steps. First, log into your enterprise portal and confirm that all federated servers validate. Then check the portal index status by navigating to the portal admin directory. Even though starting at 10.7, the reindex happens at the post install, it is good practice to make sure the tables are in sync. Also, check the TLS settings, as these may need to be updated. Next step is to publish items to your portal. Add content to the portal. This can be a shapefile or CSV. You just want to confirm you can publish items in Portal and the hosting server. Also, publish items using your common workflows, such as ArcGIS Manager, or publish with ArcGIS Pro and/or ArcMap. Also, if you upgrade to 10.7 or higher, you may need to reassign members to a valid user type that have been assigned a temporary user type. In the following demos, I will be upgrading a single machine with ArcGIS Enterprise 10.7.1 to 10.8.1. We will walk through a manual upgrade, then review some tools available for automating your upgrade. Please be aware that I have sped up the time in this video when the software is installing and configuring for all of the demonstrations, so I could show you the steps within this 1-hour session. Most upgrades will take longer than an hour to complete. The machine we'll be upgrading manually has all of the components of ArcGIS Enterprise installed. This includes the web adapters, Portal for ArcGIS, ArcGIS Server, and the ArcGIS data stores. We will follow the recommended order to upgrade this environment. Here's my machine with ArcGIS Enterprise 10.7.1 installed. As you can see, I'm logged into my portal with my site admin account. I want to check out a few things prior to upgrading. So right now I know that my portal is accessible, and I want to make sure that my servers federate. Simply navigate to servers and verify that your federated servers validate. We will also check the ArcGIS data stores that has been registered to my hosting server. Simply by going to the data store, we can select validate all. So now I know that my enterprise is in good health. Now let's ask one of our users to verify some of their services are functioning as expected. Here I have logged in as a user and have deployed a web app. And I can verify that my web app is working properly. So the key point is to just check and make sure that your environment is in a healthy condition prior to upgrading. So with these validations in check, I've also created a backup of my environment. I am now ready to upgrade. The first component we need to upgrade is Portal. So I've downloaded my Portal executable file, and I simply select Setup. You are presented with this nice dialog box. Simply click Next, accept the master agreement, select the destination folder, then enter the ArcGIS service account password, and simply click Install. Since I recorded this earlier, we are going to fast forward through the installation. This part could take up to or more than an hour to complete, depending on your infrastructure. All right, so Portal for ArcGIS 10.8.1 has been successfully installed. So to complete the installation, we'll click Finish. We're now going to continue the process of upgrading our portal. Since we are bypassing the web adapter, the browser warns that the connection is not safe. Simply click on Advanced and proceed to the site. Now we need to choose our updated license file for Portal. Select Continue Portal Upgrade to continue the process of upgrading the Portal for ArcGIS software. Once completed, you will be presented the upgrade complete. It will notify you that the portal is currently restarting, and by clicking OK, we'll be directed to install the new web adapter and configure it using the admin account. All right, so our portal has now completed the upgrade. Now we need to install and configure a new web adapter. But first, we need to uninstall the previous web adapter. So from our control panel, we'll uninstall a program, and let's go ahead and select the portal web adapter and select uninstall. We'll go ahead and remove. Finish. With the Portal Web Adapter 10.7.1 uninstalled, let's install our 10.8.1 web adapter. Run the setup file. And we minimize this stuff here. Read and accept the master agreement. We'll go ahead and do the 443. And the name for our web adapter, and we had Portal as our name, so we'll rename it to Portal. And install. The installation is completed, so we'll click Finish. Let's proceed, and we're going to configure this web adapter for Portal. Our portal name is just going to be my machine name here. .esri.com. I just make sure I use the same admin username and password when I installed 10.7.1. And simply click Configure. Our web adapter has been successfully configured, so we can use this following URL to access our portal. And let's validate we can sign in. Once we sign in, we are presented with the post-upgrade operations required dialog box, which is nice. It lets us know that we need to upgrade the portal hosting server and the data store as well. So let's go ahead and complete these steps. Close this out. Our next step in our upgrade process is to upgrade the web style since we have installed that for our 10.7.1 environment. So we'll come to Esri Software, find our web styles, and run the setup file. accept the master agreement, and install. So web files have been installed, so we can click Finish. Next on our list is to upgrade ArcGIS Server. So we'll find our ArcGIS Server 10.8.1 executable. Select Next. Accept the master agreement. We'll keep the defaults. Again, we'll keep the default Python folder and supply the password for the ArcGIS service account. And simply click Install. All right, so ArcGIS Server 10.8.1 has been successfully installed. So let's click Finish. And now we need to authorize our software. So I already have my 10.8.1 authorization file for server. Next, and authorize now. All right, so we've authorized our software, so we can click Finish. And we can go ahead and continue server upgrade. Our server has finished, so let's sign in. All right, being signed in, we can see that ArcGIS server has been upgraded. Our next step is to install the new web adapter for ArcGIS server. But first we need to unregister the current web adapter. If we go into our site and come over to web adapter, the old web adapter is still registered with this server. So what we'll do is we'll go to the admin endpoint of ArcGIS server, sign in again. We'll go into System, Web Adapters. We'll select the current web adapter, and we'll go ahead and unregister. And unregister web adapter. Now we have removed all old web adapters from our ArcGIS server. After unregistering the old web adapter, we need to uninstall the 10.7.1 web adapter from our machine. So from our control panel, say uninstall a program, and we'll select our server web adapter and select uninstall. And remove, select next, and remove. We can close this out and click Finish. Now let's install the new web adapter for server. So again, we'll come to the setup file for a web adapter. Select Next, accept the master agreement, and we can leave the default website, port 80. And our web adapter name is called server. And simply install. Our new web adapter 10.8.1 for server has been successfully installed, so we can click Finish. We'll keep the default since we're registering a GIS server. And we can simply type in our server.domain.com. In this case, it's the PNP 000 Esri.com. And remember our site admin username and password that we used initially. And we're going to keep this checked, the enable admin access to the site through the web adapter, and select configure. We now have our server web adapter configured, and we can validate by going to the server. And we can check the web adapter. So if we log into the manager again, go to site and web adapter. Now we can see our new web adapter has been registered with server. Our next step is to upgrade the ArcGIS data store. Close this out, and we can go directly to our data store executable file and run the setup command. Again, click Next, accept the master agreement, and we're going to keep the default destination folder. We will enter the password for the ArcGIS service account. Select Next. We're not going to export our config file, and simply click Install. The ArcGIS Data Store 10.8.1 has been successfully installed, so we can select Finish. As you can see, we've been directed to port 2443 for the data store upgrade. So now we need to enter in the URL of our server along with our site admin username and password, and select Next. It has recognized that we already have the relational and tile cache store installed, and it is now ready for upgrade. So we can go ahead and simply click Next. Our relational and tile cache data stores have been successfully upgraded. Select Next, and we're done. So let's go ahead and close some of this stuff out. So the data store was the last piece that we had to upgrade within our stack. So let's log back into our portal. And sign in with our site admin account. We see the post upgrade operations. Our portal for ArcGIS has been completed, but we need to follow these post upgrade steps before our enterprise portal is ready to use. And if you remember, we've already upgraded the hosting server, and we just got done upgrading the ArcGIS data store. We can now click OK to complete the required post upgrade steps. So we can select OK. And our post upgrade has completed. Let's verify a few things. As we did before in the beginning, let's go to our servers and make sure that they validate. Let's go to servers. With our servers validating, let's now check our data stores. Let's go to Site, Data Stores, and select Validate All. As you can see, they all validate. Another good reference to validate the data stores is by going to the admin endpoint of server. Simply log into the admin, select Data, Items, and for the relational data store, we can select the enterprise databases. Select our database instance here. We go to the machines, select the machine name, and we can select validate. And as you can see, it comes back healthy. For our tile cache data store, we can check that in the NoSQL databases. Here's our tile cache data store instance running on this machine. Again, we can just select validate and select the validate button and validate that the machine is healthy. Another item to check is the portal indexing. So if we come to the portal admin endpoint and sign in again, and here we can select System and Indexer and check the index status. As you can see, the counts in both the store and in the index match. However, if you see a discrepancy between these two, you can always run the reindex. Now let's go back to our home page of Portal, and everything from this side looks good. So now let's log in as a user and verify our services that were published in 10.7.1 are still reachable. So let's log in as a user. And let's verify our web app is working as expected. As you can see, our web app is working and displaying the features we published prior to the upgrade. Please also perform your own validation workflows after upgrades. We just reviewed how to upgrade the ArcGIS Enterprise components manually. This process takes hours to perform and requires constant monitoring to continue through the upgrade process. I was able to condense a full day to manually upgrade a single machine to just around 20 minutes in this video. That is why we promote automating your deployments and upgrades. All the steps we just reviewed to upgrade manually can also be performed by running a single command using Chef. Please visit our session, Automating Your ArcGIS Enterprise Installation, for further examples of ways to automate your deployment. I will now upgrade the same ArcGIS Enterprise machine with Chef. To get started, let's visit the GitHub site. You can search for the ArcGIS cookbooks. Here, you will find all of our Chef cookbooks for ArcGIS. And selecting on the wiki page, we can see all the recipes, tutorials, and even upgrade an existing base enterprise deployment on a single machine. Here you will find the prerequisites and even the step-by-step instructions on how to use Chef to upgrade your deployment. So I have already downloaded and extracted the cookbook for 10.8.1. We just need to modify the JSON file to point to my 10.8.1 files. I'm going to repoint it to the version that I want is 10.8.1 and point all of the other setup files that I've downloaded to the 10.8.1 folder. And we also want to make sure that our run list is correct. And these run lists can be found also on the wiki page here in step 6. Just make sure that the run lists are in the following order. So back on our JSON file, we can go ahead and remove federation and portal, IIS, and system. And we want to make sure we keep the web styles recipe since we have web styles in our stack. We'll just go ahead and put it after the portal installation to follow our upgrade steps. And that's it. We'll just go ahead and save. We'll go ahead and close some of this stuff out and run the command prompt as administrator. Then simply run the chef command. And with that, Chef has upgraded my ArcGIS Enterprise single machine in a little over 3 hours, 3 hours, 24 minutes. Exit out of this. So let's navigate to our portal site and sign in. And let's go ahead and validate our federated servers. Our server validates, and let's check our data stores. Going to site and data stores, and we say validate all. And we can verify our version by going to software authorization, and we are now at build 10.8.1. Using Chef simplified the upgrade process of my ArcGIS Enterprise by allowing me to modify a JSON file and execute a Chef command to upgrade all of the components within my stack. So we just reviewed manually upgrading ArcGIS Enterprise on a single machine and using Chef to upgrade. If you used the ArcGIS Enterprise Cloud Builder for AWS to deploy, you can also use the ArcGIS Enterprise Cloud Builder for AWS to upgrade. So let's take a look at an example. So on this machine, I have downloaded and installed the ArcGIS Enterprise Cloud Builder for 10.8.1 for AWS. So let's launch the program. We'll sign into our AWS account. And here I can see all the deployments within my account that I've used the Cloud Builder to deploy. Here, the demo upgrade I can see is at version 10.7.1. And I have this up arrow indicating that I can now upgrade my deployment. So let's navigate to this site, sign in. So our portal is accessible. Let's go ahead and validate our federated server. So this validates, and let's check our data stores. Site, data stores, and let's validate all. So now I know my environment is healthy, so we can close. And let's go ahead and upgrade our deployment. Simply clicking on the link, you will then see an upgrade deployment checklist. So before upgrading, complete and check all the items in this checklist. So here I have my ArcGIS license for the version that I am upgrading to. I accepted the license agreement, and I have made my backup, which is very important. So if the deployment upgrade fails for any reason, we may need to manually get in there and figure out what happened. And that if our site contains geo event, that it will not be upgraded. And that geo event is not included in the Cloud Builder. Next. Here we'll go ahead and choose our license file. So here we can upload our new license and upload our new server license file. Simply click Next. And all you need to do is select Upgrade. Once the Cloud Builder completes successfully, you should see this green check mark, and you can tell that it took approximately 1 hour for this upgrade. And you also have a link to the watch logs, the CloudFormation stack details, and then the links to the portal and server environment themselves. So let's click on our portal and let's sign in with our site admin account. Looks good so far. Let's go and validate our servers. Our server validated. So let's check our data stores. Simply click on Site and Data Stores and validate all. It appears our environment is healthy. Some of the other additional testing that you can do is go ahead and load some more GIS data into the system, make sure it's performing well, check your existing services, make sure that they are also available. Also take new backups once you validate that everything is running properly within your environment. We can close this and we can close the Cloud Builder. And now when we expand our demo upgrade site, we can see that the new version is now 10.8.1. So we just reviewed using the ArcGIS Enterprise Cloud Builder for AWS. Now, if you use the AWS CloudFormation templates, you can also visit this site that provides the upgrade steps available for using the ArcGIS CloudFormation templates. We can find these templates that are shown here by going to enterprise.arcgis.com, and we can search cloud. And one of the results is the Cloud Builder for Amazon Web Services. And here we're on the AWS tab. And both the app and command line interface use the AWS CloudFormation templates. And we can simply click this link to where we can read more about the CloudFormation templates that are available in Amazon. We can then click on the CloudFormation templates link, and this will bring us directly to the templates that are available. Here are a list of the versions that are available, along with the table of contents. If this is new to you, you can read through this site. It deploys a VPC for you. Any of these other base enterprise deployments that are available for automation, as well as any additional servers. And it also includes Lambda scripting for stopping and starting all your instances within the CloudFormation stack, and some Python references. If we're talking about upgrades, we also have some upgrade documentation for you. So if you want to use the stack update for the CloudFormation templates, we have some examples here for the upgrade standalone, base enterprise deployment, an HA, or a ArcGIS server deployment, like a standalone and federated site. By clicking on one of these links, it will bring us to the step-by-step instructions on how to perform the upgrade via a Windows operating system or on Ubuntu. If you want to upgrade to 10.9, you can manually upgrade your existing deployment or use Chef. We'll have more documentation around this. You only need to redeploy and migrate using the WebGIS DR tool if you want to opt into the automated upgrades using the 10.9 and future CloudFormation templates. For more information and a deeper dive into these CloudFormation templates, I would suggest attending the Deploying ArcGIS Enterprise in Amazon Web Services session that is available within this Dev Summit. Similar to the ArcGIS Cloud Builder for AWS, if you use the ArcGIS Enterprise Cloud Builder for Microsoft Azure, you will use the ArcGIS Enterprise Cloud Builder for Azure to upgrade. For a deeper dive into deploying and upgrading in Microsoft Azure, please watch the session Deploying ArcGIS Enterprise in Microsoft Azure. So for our final demonstration, if you've used the ArcGIS Enterprise Builder to deploy, then you use the ArcGIS Enterprise Builder to upgrade. These upgrades were supported at the 10.6 release of the Builder. So let's take a look. I use the ArcGIS Enterprise Builder to deploy on this single machine. That means I can use the Builder to upgrade. So we will launch the Builder. And we'll click Next on the welcome screen. Read and accept the master agreement. Keep the defaults for the destination folder. And it wants the ArcGIS service account password. Next. So since I am upgrading, it recognizes that I have portal and server already as my web adapters. And now it wants the ArcGIS server authorization file. So this is the new 10.8.1 server file. And simply click Install. The builder is now upgrading all the components of my ArcGIS Enterprise. The ArcGIS Enterprise installation has completed. Now, by clicking Finish, we're going to launch the ArcGIS Enterprise Configuration Wizard to complete the deployment. Here's the welcome screen, and let's go ahead and complete the configuration by clicking Next to continue. And again, we're bypassing the web adapter. We're at port 6443, so we'll go ahead and continue to the page. So let's go ahead and upload our new portal license file. This is the JSON file for 10.8.1. And then open this one. Then select Upgrade. And we'll let the wizard finish the configuration of our deployment. When the configuration completes successfully, you will be presented with the deployment has been upgraded. And now you can sign in to your newly upgraded portal. And we can verify the version. Another way is by going to the portal admin, hit login, and we are now at 10.8.1. We are also supporting ArcGIS Enterprise on Kubernetes at our 10.9 release. If your organization already has adopted Kubernetes, then this deployment option could be for you. One of the benefits is the continuous integration and continuous deployment of Kubernetes. Let's take a sneak peek into what an update and upgrade would look like for ArcGIS Enterprise on Kubernetes. We will start by looking at the ArcGIS Enterprise Manager, where we will list the updates that are available and the latest release of the software. You can also view the applied updates and view the history of the software. Let's apply the available update. When applying an update, you will see each step that is being applied. The site is set to read-only, and you can also see each component that has been completed. Finally, you will receive a notice that the updates have been applied successfully. You will also have the option to remove the update if necessary. Next, let's upgrade the environment. Again, you can see that the site is set to read-only during this operation. You can also track when each component is upgraded. And when complete, you will see the green checkmark that the upgrade has completed. To learn more about this new deployment option, I would recommend watching the sessions within this Dev Summit, the ArcGIS Enterprise on Kubernetes an Introduction, and we also have the technical concepts for ArcGIS Enterprise on Kubernetes.
We covered a lot of topics today around upgrading ArcGIS Enterprise, including taking a step back and covering the core benefits of moving to a newer version, including new features, functionality, apps, and products, taking advantage of performance enhancements, staying within the supported product lifecycle, and also ensuring you have the latest security updates and bug fixes. We also reviewed some considerations and practices to perform before you upgrade, including backing up the virtual machines and backing up the individual components. Lastly, we discussed and demonstrated options available for manual and automating upgrades, including ArcGIS Enterprise Builder, CloudFormation templates, ArcGIS Enterprise Builder for Amazon Web Services and Azure, as well as automation tools like Chef and PowerShell. We also introduced the new deployment option for ArcGIS Enterprise on Kubernetes at 10.9 and what that upgrade experience would be like. For more information on these topics we covered today, you can visit the ArcGIS Enterprise upgrade documentation topics, as well as documentation for both ArcGIS Enterprise on Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Services. Thank you.